Hey, once again, thank you so much for having us. We are massive fans of Naturally Austin, the Naturally Network. Emily, huge thank you to you and your team for getting this set up. We're excited today just to talk a little bit about Walmart. So Walmart is this, big blue retailer in Northwest Arkansas. Many of us have some sort of exposure to it. Either, we're shoppers or maybe we sell products there. We work for a company called Harvest Group. And so we work with a number of different product manufacturers selling to retailers like Walmart and Sam's Club and Kroger. Our team today is Bethany, Tripp, and myself. Bethany is our director of the grocery business unit. Bethany came up through the ranks at the Hershey Company and has joined Harvest about 5 years ago. Tripp Cashin leads our personal care team. Tripp spent time at Walmart as well as Pfizer and has been at Harvest for about 5 years as well. And then I work in business development. And so I'm going to help kind of facilitate our conversation today. In terms of what we're going to cover, share a little bit about Harvest Group. We're a company that's been around for about 14 years, but primarily within the Northwest Arkansas and Cincinnati markets. And so being in Austin, you may not have heard of us. So I'll share a little bit about what we do. And then I'll also provide a little overview of what's happening at Walmart. There have been some pretty significant changes, as one might expect, over the last 6 to 12 months. And a lot of those COVID related, but a lot of those were in the works even prior to COVID. And so we'll talk about everything that's happening at Walmart. And then we'll just do a little Q&A session with myself and Tripp and Bethany just to answer any questions that people might have. And oftentimes we hear some similarities in terms of questions. What are those common questions that you as a current Walmart supplier or an aspirational or potential Walmart supplier may want to know as they think about doing business with one of the world's largest retailers? And then we'll open it up to the group for some audience Q&A as well. So with that, so Harvest Group, again, as I mentioned, we've been around for about 14 years. Most of our people have backgrounds in big CPG or from a retailer standpoint. And so what we do is come alongside from an omnichannel perspective. We'll talk about omnichannel a lot. It's either a word that you're familiar with and you're sick of hearing about, or it's a word that you're going to hear about more and more often. But so we work with a number of clients against their Walmart, Sam's Club, and Kroger businesses. We've got about 70 clients. We work with companies like Ollie and RX Bar and Noon Hydration and others to really drive their business, to make sure that as they're having conversations about their brand with these key retailers, that we're coming alongside. I often like to say that we help translate. So as we're talking to one of our clients, we want to make sure that their corporate strategy, their brand strategy, their innovation makes sense through the lens of Walmart, Sam's Club, and Kroger. In terms of what sets us apart, we talk about these three uniques, and it's really comes down to three things: people, model, and insight. So we've got, again, a number of really skilled and talented teammates, many with, again, big CPG experience. So they're going to bring a unique perspective to a small and emerging brand as they go to market with some of the world's largest retailers. Model, we intentionally build out a very low client to resource ratio. So you're not just one in a million in terms of how many companies an account manager might be serving. We make sure that our teams are very low client to resource ratio. And also insights. Certainly one of the things you'll hear us talk about is the need and value for data in the context of having these conversations with retailers. If you went back maybe 20 or 30 years, there was a time when you could walk into a Walmart meeting and they would say, "Hey, I love your product," and they would write you a purchase order right there. Well, certainly, times have changed, and no longer you get to walk in and walk out with a handshake. Everything right now is entirely data-driven, as well as kind of a 2.0 of this is increasingly digital-driven as well. And so we'll talk to that throughout our conversation today as well. In terms of what's happening at Walmart, no doubt you've all seen some of the things that have been happening in terms of corporate structure changes, in terms of some of their maybe recent earnings, and then what to expect moving forward. So we'll speak to some of those just to kind of lay the groundwork for our conversation today. So again, in the news not too long ago, Walmart announced some pretty significant restructuring. And so a lot of that came in the form of job cuts. And so for those of you who maybe aren't as familiar with what was happening, Walmart, headquartered in Bentonville, Arkansas, but had offices based in San Bruno, California, as well as Hoboken, New Jersey. The offices in San Bruno and Hoboken handled a lot of the e-commerce business. Walmart wanted to consolidate some of those merchandising roles. And so they cut some of the staff here in Northwest Arkansas, especially with regards to, in-store, either